Hello everyone and welcome to Sunburned. Albino plays the Ace Attorney Trilogy episode 98. I've been able to steal a couple hours to record while children are out wherever they are for a few hours, so that's cool. It's so early, but I gotta take the time that I can get. Oh man. Speaking of missing children, where's Pearl? Oh my. Mr. Larice feels that way about me? Apparently, he isn't aware of your real secret at all. This is no time to be embarrassed. I'm sorry. I'm just hardly accustomed to that sort of thing. Yeah, okay. Alright, dude. Alright, bro, sure. Worry not. And in any case, whatever it was that he saw on the night of the incident, mark my words, I will drag it out of him. Does that mean Mr. Larice is the witness today? No. I believe that none will be the first to take the stand. Sister Bikini. She claims to have seen the very instant in which you carried out the crime. I just want to ask you one last time. It really wasn't you who killed Miss Elisa Donim, correct? That is correct. It wasn't me. Very well then. Mr. Edgeworth? Yes? You are a prosecutor, aren't you? Are you sure about this? If your true identity is revealed... Don't worry. I've made the necessary arrangements. I see. Iris. It is a prosecutor's job to doubt people. But right now, I am a defense attorney. A defense attorney's job is to believe in people, and to believe until the bitter end. That's what my friend told me once. Mr. Edgeworth... I simply ask that you watch and decide for yourself whether or not I am fit to do the task I have been entrusted. Very well, sir. I leave my defense in your capable hands. Hey, where's Pearl? Hey, where's Maya? I mean, we know where Maya is, but the trial's gonna start, Maya's just stuck in a room nobody can get to, and Pearl's God knows where? Hell yeah. We got all our eggs in the same basket. Let's do this. Court is now in session for the trial of Sister Iris of Hazakura Temple. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The defense does indeed appear to be ready. However, the same cannot be said for the prosecution in this case. Indeed. I'm not sure I like such a blatant waste of this court's time. An empty prosecutor's chair can only mean that the prosecutor has no confidence in their ability to prove their case. It would seem this case is already over before it had a chance to begin. I am ready to announce my verdict at this time. This court finds the defendant... Von Karma? The prosecution stands ready. And you are... Franziska von Karma, prosecuting Prodigy. Oh, it's been a long time since I did that voice, so I'm gonna have to get back into it. Von Karma, you say? Perchance you wouldn't be of any relation to the legendary prosecutor Manfred von Karma. Legends are a thing of the past. I am a von Karma, that is all. Upon a special request, I flew in today for the purposes of prosecuting this case. Damn it, I'm starting to do it French because the last two Z's with the thes have been French accents. Crap. You did. Then you must be quite a big shot, eh? By the way, Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor? I'm almost certain that I've seen you somewhere before. Or am I just imagining things? You look very much like a prosecutor I met once. I believe you are imagining things, Your Honor. Miss Von Karma, do you have anything to say? There is no such weakling as this man among those of the prosecutor's office. There isn't? But I'm sure once before in this courtroom... Ah! I told you there is no such weakling. What is that? A whip? I'm not sure I care for such a thing in my courtroom. Bailiff, remove that whip at... I have no objection to the whip. You don't? The prosecution can wield a whip or drink 17 cups of coffee, but there is still only one truth. That is what I stand here to prove today. This promises to be interesting, Miles Edgeworth. I had expected to face Phoenix right here today, but looking at you now, maybe this is what I've been waiting for all this time. Miles Edgeworth, I will not allow this chance to crush you slip through my fingers. I see you brought your flair for the histrionic. Allow me to add to the things I'm not sure about. People acting bizarrely in my court. Waha! The stage is set. Now continue with the proceedings, Your Honor. Very well. Miss Von Karma, please give an outline of this case, with as little whipping as possible. The murder victim is the famed picture book author, Miss Elisa Donin. Her body was found in the Hazakura Temple courtyard. She had been stabbed through the torso by a ceremonial sword from a golden statue. The sword in this picture is the weapon in question, correct? Very well. The court accepts this photo of the crime scene. Okay, we'll have to look at that. Let's see. Okay, stabbed. How do you manage that? How do you stab someone in the back and then, like, maneuver her so that the sword is just, and then, dude, that's tough. That seems ritualistic, you know? There is no mistake. This was the doing of Sister Iris. After all, there is a witness to a crime. Very well. Please bring this witness to the stand. And so it begins. My first and last trial as a defense attorney. We need a box. Witness, state your name and occupation, please. Hold on here. I'm not sure about being not sure if I care for this at all. Witness, please stand up nice and straight. If I recall correctly, there are a few milk crates in the defendant's lobby for our back pain-plagued witness. Bailiff, fetch a crate for this poor lady, please. Once again, your name and occupation, please. Okay, what was that one voice? Okay, like, I want her to sound more like how she looks. So we would go like, little old me? Well, I'm the head nun of Hazakura Temple on Eagle Mountain! Like, that doesn't work. So, we have to... I don't know. Can I do, like, an on-the-spot Melissa McCarthy impression? Let's see. What does Miss Melissa McCarthy sound like again? Just like, what's... Yeah. No, that's not what she sounds like. My name is Bikini. You got it? Bikini. Nice to meet everyone. Yeah, that's not what anybody sounds like, actually. But you don't appear to be wearing a bikini right now. The courtroom is the garden of holy judgment. Those with lechery in their hearts should leave this sanctuary at once. You want me to leave? No need to get your bikinis in a twist. Let me tell you, I'm a sight to behold in summer. Oh, if only. Dude, if I could do Melissa McCarthy or that fat chick from the show This Is Us, which I've never seen, so I don't know how she sounds. Even Rebel Wilson would be preferable to what we were doing. In any case, witness, I hear that you saw the crime take place on the night in question. That's right. I can still hardly believe it myself, to be honest. There's no way dear little Iris could do anything like that. Let us hear what you have to say, then. Excuse me, bitch. No need to shout. First, tell us about your own movements that night, eh? That's the first time they've done, like, the aboot thing for him. That night, I was helping an acolyte with her training in the inner temple, but, well, as you can see, my back likes to act up, violently. So, I left Iris to help the acolyte and returned to Hazakura Temple. There's no bath at the inner temple, you see, and I needed a long, hot soak. It was after I had finished, just as I was heading back. That's when I saw it! Sorry, I just have nothing in the chamber for her. So it was simply coincidence that you found yourself returning to Hazakura Temple? Yes, you could say that. If my back hadn't been in so much pain, I would have stayed at the Inner Temple. That sounds like a pretty important statement she just made. There's only one problem with this testimony that I can see. And you're not about to fall at the first hurdle, now are you, Miles Edgeworth? Mr. Edgeworth, please begin your cross-examination. Alright, that night I was helping the Acolyte with the training, but, well, as you can see, my back likes to act violently, so I left Iris to help the Acolyte and returned to Hazakura Temple. There's no bath at the Inner Temple, you see, and I needed a long hot soak. There's no bath at the Inner Temple, huh? Is there no bath at the Inner Temple? Show me the map. I mean, you know, it's whatever. And I needed a long hot soak. It was after I had finished, just as I was heading back, that's when I saw it. I think we just need to press a bunch of stuff. Hold it! What is this Inner Temple? Well, see, conversing with the spirits is what we train people to do, right? We'll be the ones asking you the questions, madam. In order to do that, a place strong in spiritual power is required. There's a small temple across Dusky Bridge called the Inner Temple. Acolytes must spend an entire night there to undergo intense training. And how exactly do you help with this process? It is all quite exciting. It can't be performed without a nun supervising. All quite exacting? Is that what you said? Okay. Like a tutor watching to make sure a spoiled child studies. A tutor with a whip in your case. If that is the case, then why did you return to Hazakura Temple where the murder took place? Violently. That's right. It's no laughing matter, especially in winter. I can't hold anything heavier than a knife and fork during the cold months. Just being alive is like strict training. On the night of the murder, was this fabulous back of yours hurting again? That's right. Raging like a bull in a pig pen. I almost fainted once or twice. I just knew that unless I warmed it up, it was gonna finally finish me off. You left Iris to help. With what? What do you think? The Acolyte's training, of course. It was just past 10 p.m., so we were starting to enter into the training exercises proper. Wasn't it your place to remain with the disciple? Well, the job is simply to watch over the Acolytes so that they don't pass away. Just to confirm this point again, that night, you met Iris in the Inner Temple, correct? Yes, she's a gentle, honest girl. She's never once failed to follow my directions. Oh, so did you order her to kill her then? So you returned to the Hazakura Temple in order to take a bath? My back is to blame for everything. It's a do-or-be-done-in kind of world, after all. How long were you in the bath for, if you don't mind me asking? My, what a filthy little rogue you are. I know what's on your mind. I bet your next question is going to be, where exactly did you wash? Ah, this is why you have to watch the young ones. What are you going on about? I was... Pathetic, Miles Edgeworth. The lowest of the low. Is there some sort of kick-me sign stuck to the defense's bench? Anyway, I couldn't afford to be away from my post for too long, you understand, so... Okay, but you didn't tell me how long it took. The crime took place in the courtyard, correct? When you go from my room to the main hall, you have to take a winding hallway from which you can see the courtyard. That's right. In other words, it was pure coincidence that the witness saw the crime taking place before her eyes. There was no complicated setup in this case. That certainly seems to be true. There is indeed only one problem with this testimony. If I can clearly point out what it is, then I can begin to quantify just how good this witness's memory and observation skills are. Alexa, so I left Iris to help the Acolyte and returned to Hazakura Temple. Huh, what do we have? Victim staff. Shishishito! Iris's hood. Note to Iris. I'll be waiting for you tonight at 10. Right. Where's the autopsy report? There we go. Time 10 to 11. Cause loss of blood from stab in the back. Body fell 10 feet after death. Alright. Courtyard where Lisa was murdered. This photo does not seem to have anything suspicious associated with it. Iris's testimony rang lights out bell at 10 p.m. and was then in her room until the murder was discovered. Do we just use Iris's testimony? Say, hey, what you just said contradicts what she just said? Yes! Witnesses have to undergo their own trials, I'm afraid. The defendant's fate rests on their powers of observation and memory, after all. Well, don't worry. I'm more than up to the task. I'm a woman of faith, after all. The head honcho of Hazakura Temple. In that case, Miss Honcho, I'd like you to explain something for me. The discrepancy between your testimony and that of the defendant, Iris. She claims that after ringing the lights out bell, she went back and stayed in her room. Which means she did not go to the inner temple at all. No, she said that? A defendant or a witness? Who is more likely to lie, do you suppose? The defendant is simply lying to cover her back! But that is completely illogical. The murder was committed in the courtyard of Hazakura Temple. Claiming that she went to the inner temple would make for a much better alibi. But that is odd. Whatever the reason, I can't believe that she would lie. She does indeed have honest eyes. Wah! All people lie. That is my belief. Why am I the only one being whipped in here? Anyway, neither the witness nor the defendant have any reason to lie, which means we must call your memory into question. Dear. You're older than me, and yet you want to play that game, do you? Well, that isn't exactly what I... My memory is perfect, crystal clear, especially in winter. Then, I suppose it's too early to end this cross-examination, eh? Mr. Edgeworth, if you are going to question the memory of this witness, you will need to show me a more decisive piece of evidence. Understood, Your Honor. I was naive to think that alone would do the trick. Then please add your comments about Iris to the testimony, and let us return to the cross-examination. That night it was okay. Iris came to the inner temple. She was dressed exactly as she had been at dinner. That's false! Falsity! Witness, let's get one thing straight. The defendant whom you claim to have met, she was wearing this demon-warding hood, correct? Of course! That is a very important piece of clothing, I'll have you know. Wahaha! 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 Mandark. Wait a minute. Hold it right there. Why do you have that? That's the question of the day, now isn't it, Miss Von Karma? I'll have you know that this hood was given to someone as a gift that night, before the lights-out bell was rung. What? You know where I'm going with this, don't you? If the witness had seen the defendant as she claims, then the Iris she saw should have been missing this very hood. Well! It's not a bad feeling at all, exposing contradictions like this. Now I understand that happy look on Wright's face every time he does it. Order! Order in the cart! Witness your... Sister! This hood! You have spare ones around the temple, don't you? Spares? Well, I do tend to make too many of them. I see. A stockpile. A surplus of hoods, eh? Each nun is only given one hood. This should be the only hood that Iris owned. Then this is quite strange. Why? If there was a surplus of hoods, then she could have worn one of those. There is no contradiction here. I'm sorry to break this to you, Miss Von Karma, but you won't get away that easily. Discrepancies such as this will sow seeds in any human heart. The seeds of doubt. Witness. While I don't wish to call your testimony into doubt, you must give every detail with precision. I'm not sure I'm comfortable going along with this. Sister, you shall continue with your testimony. Tell us what you saw after finishing your baths on your way back to the inner temple. Those seeds of doubt are sprouting in the judge's heart. They just need a little more stimulation to bear fruit. Contradictory stimulation. After my bath, bam-ba-dam-bam. I finished my bath around 11, and I thought I should return to the inner temple. And as I was walking back, I heard a noise from the courtyard. I took a look, and Iris was... Oh, Mystic Elisa. And with that sword of all things... Mystic Elise was staying in the corner room, which faces out onto the courtyard. The stabbing I saw must have occurred after she was pushed out of her window. Ooh, fake news. Enemy of the people. You saw a truly terrible sight, didn't you? If I was in your place, then it would be much like Miss Von Karma whipping Mr. Edgeworth in two in court, and me seeing it all from this very chair. Well, something like that. This judge... His imagination is about as vivid and creative as Detective Gumshoe. I would look the fool if I commented on such foolishness. Anyways, this case is mine, Miles Edgeworth. Calling everyone by their full name. Can't you do something about that habit of yours? I mean, I do it too. When it comes to celebrities. This trial is easy so far. I understand it 100%. Body fell 10 feet after death, bitch! Impressive logic. That's what I'd like to say, anyway. Oh, please do! My brain is something else, especially in winter. However, I think you are overlooking one thing. Miss Von Karma, would you be so kind as to take another look at the autopsy report? The autopsy report? The victim did fall from a height of 10 feet. However, this fall was after she was killed. Ah! That's right. It says after death right here. The scene the witness claims to have seen is contradictory. If the defendant stabbed and killed the victim there in the courtyard, how did the victim then go on to take a 10-foot fall? Ah! Let me grab both my shoulders with my arms crossed. Ah! Order! Order! The victim was killed and then fell. If that is the case, then the victim must have been killed in her room. Don't you agree? That is the logical conclusion. Yes, that's right. The victim must have been stabbed by the defendant in her own room, and she was then thrown out of her window down into the courtyard below. Were there any signs of a struggle in Miss Donham's room? She was stabbed with a sword. That would leave a bloodstain, wouldn't you agree? Well, Miss Von Karma, was there any blood? Why? No traces of blood were found in the victim's room. Your whip has just caused traces of blood to be found on my glorious playoff beard. However, if there was no blood in the room, then your claim is... I'm sure there's no need for me to go over this, as I'm sure your honor is well aware of when a stab wound produces the most blood. When it produces the most blood? Very little blood is actually lost at the moment of a blade's insertion. If you want to talk about when the most blood would be lost from a body, that would be when the blade is removed. Indeed, with the weapon still in place, it acts like a lid on the wound. That's true. With the weapon still in the body, there wouldn't be much bleeding. A perfectly reasonable line of thinking. But there would still be some. We have come to a conclusion then. The victim was thrown out of the window with the sword still in place. This removes all of the contradictions. Yeah, that's false. And we have the photo to prove it. Order! Order! I must admit that this is a probable version of events. I'd expect no less from Franziska von Karma. She locates and takes control of every vital point. It seems that we need a clearer testimony from the witness. Remove all supposition on your part and tell us only the facts, please. Witness, please, remain standing on the crate. Don't go selling me short now. The weight of winter snow has bent me out of shape, especially my back and my mood. Sister, please give us your testimony. I will give you a vigorous massage once we are finished here. With the whip? Oh boy. Alright, alright. When I looked across the scene, the sword was already in place. Thinking about it now, I didn't actually see her stab Mystic Elise. I've never seen so much blood before. That's when I fainted. You can't blame me, can you? And when I awoke, Mystic Amy was stabbing Mystic Elise through the back. This all confirms Miss Von Karma's theory. Von Karma's strive for nothing but perfection. Putting together such facts is nothing for me. You should know that, Miles Edgeworth. Perfection is an impossibility, Franziska Von Karma, and I'm here to teach you just that. I mean, we didn't get Von Karma's theory as, like, a thing to be contradicted, so... Across the scene, the sword was already in place. At that time, was the victim bleeding? Well, I was very shocked to be seeing all this, of course, so I'm not entirely sure. But I don't think I saw any blood, not then. I'm sure that you didn't. The weapon was acting as a plug in the wound. In any case, let's be clear on one very important point. Did you actually see the instant in which the victim was stabbed? Think carefully, this is very important. It's Iris we're talking about here. I'm thinking for all I'm worth. No, when I looked over, the sword was already in Mystic Elise's body. It might not be conclusive, but this testimony supports her theory. The victim was stabbed in her room and then dropped into the courtyard. I think this proves it rather well, Miles Edgeworth. Never seen so much blood before. So you're saying that you saw the victim's blood? That's right. Some of it had splattered onto Iris, too. When the defendant was arrested, she was meditating in her room, and her blood-flecked clothing was neatly folded in the corner. What? Her clothes were blood-flecked as well? That seems quite conclusive to me. What should I do? Press this point further? But of course, there must be some mistake. Going back to your previous statement, you said that you saw little bleeding when the victim was stabbed, but now you say you saw the victim bleeding? Well, I say that what I saw is what I saw. What did you see? Maybe I didn't see the poor woman get stabbed, but I saw the girl pull the sword out of her plain as day. Pulling the sword out? Well, it wasn't exactly pulling. It was more like it came out. Witness, you will add this statement to your testimony. Oh, was that important? More important than you can imagine. Who talks like this? I saw the instant in which the blade, plunged into the hilt, was smoothly drawn out. No, you didn't, bitch. No, you absolutely didn't. What? Oh no! But the sword was still in her back, so what are you even talking about? Smoothly, you say. You're saying you saw the sword smoothly slide out. That's right. The whole thing happened right next to the gold statue of Mystic Amy. Mystic Elisa was on the ground and Iris was stooped over her. The sword was buried up to the hilt. When Iris stood up, the sword in her hand just slid out of Mystic Elisa's body. It slid out from that gaping wound. Ah! It goes without saying that if the sword was removed, there would be bleeding. Nothing out of place here. Is that really the case? I can't help but feel that something about this testimony is very out of place. That something which couldn't possibly have happened appears to have happened. Let's see. What do we have? Aha! Sister Bikini, you are a reliable witness. At least, I'd like to think so. But there are too many contradictions here. What do you mean? You make it sound as though I'm a liar. But you're a handsome young man, so I'll forgive you. What contradictions are you talking about? In the scene that the witness claims to have seen, the weapon was thrust up to its hilt into the victim. Furthermore, the killer withdrew the weapon smoothly from the body. However, both of these are complete impossibilities. What do you mean? Please explain explain yourself! To start with, do you think it would be possible to stab someone to the hilt with this? No matter how I look at the defendant, she doesn't appear strong enough for that. Doesn't appear? What meaningless dribble! I too may appear to be weak and frail, but I can crush men under my heel and make them weep, so should I so choose. The objection stands. I wept a little back there, I must admit. That isn't the only issue here. If this sword was truly stabbed into the body up to the hilt, well, just look at all the branches on it. It certainly wouldn't come out smoothly. We also have the problem of the amount of bleeding. It's true that when a blade is left in a body, it acts as a plug of sorts. However, when the weapon is shaped like this, it's an entirely different story. The wound would be too large for the blade to completely stop the bleeding. That's nothing more than conjecture. In reality, the victim was stabbed with the Shishito! Even a weapon of this nature may still sometimes slide out smoothly and may still sometimes stop the blood loss. I'm not finished. There is still one more conclusive contradiction. You've still got more? This one is simple. If this sword really was thrust in all the way to the hilt, why is there only blood on the tip of it? If this witness is telling the truth, then there should be blood along the entire length of the sword. No! Order! Order! Wah! Bravo, Miles Edgeworth. Raising this many contradictions from a single piece of evidence. All the other attorneys I know could maybe manage one, if that. But what does this all mean? You have proven contradictions regarding the murder weapon, but having come this far, there can only be one answer. And that is? The weapon used to kill the victim was not the Shishishito. What? A foolishly foolish idea born from the foolish mind of a foolhardy foolish fool! Let's examine this again. What was it that made us think that this sword was the murder weapon? Well, it's because Mystic Amy was holding it. Exactly. However, if you reflect on this, that is the only basis we have to assume such a thing. The impression left by this scene was just too strong. That is what influenced us. It influenced us to believe that the Shishishito was the murder weapon. Order! Wah! So maybe the Shishishito was not the murder weapon. Even if that is the case, it changes nothing, Miles Edgeworth. The sister here saw everything. She saw the defendant stab the victim with a sword-like object. That's true. Your response, Mr. Edgeworth? If that is so, I would like the prosecution to answer the obvious question it raises. The obvious question? Yes, namely, Where did the real murder weapon disappear to? It goes without saying that the police searched the main hall and the surrounding area. Perhaps the prosecution can enlighten us as to if a sword-like object was found. That? Answer the question, Miss Von Karma. No evidence of that kind was found. Another mystery to throw onto the pile. A trial without a murder weapon is a tricky beast. Excuse me, could I say something? I just remembered something, actually. What is it, sister? I was just thinking, it's possible that just maybe what actually happened was, it was just over there. What exactly are you going on about here? The murder weapon, I mean. Maybe. I think I might know where the sword was disposed of. You what? Well then. I think we need to hear testimony from you one more time, sister. Impossible. What else? What else could this old woman have seen? I saw the murder at around 11 p.m. Excuse me. Oh, 10 to 11, okay. And after asking that it be reported, I went out to the main gate. And there I saw tracks that indicated the snowmobile had been used. It takes 15 minutes to walk to Dusky Bridge, but less than 5 using one of those. Maybe they threw the weapon into Eagle River and came back while I was knocked out. Iris could have done that. She can drive a snowmobile after all. Well, yeah, who can't? Witness, please tell us everything you know right away next time. Well, I'm not in the best of shape. What with my back and my age, you know. Quite. There were indeed snowmobile tracks in front of the main gate. Here's a photograph. A snowmobile, eh? I see. Well, it certainly is an interesting theory. The tracks begin in front of Hazakura Temple and run all the way to Dusky Bridge. There's also footprints, though, so whose are those? That solves your pesky little problem, yes? The Eagle River's current is quite swift, meaning that it doesn't freeze over in winter, making it the perfect place to dispose of the murder weapon. Did she really go to the river to dispose of the murder weapon? Mr. Edgeworth, your cross-examination, please. Well, I mean, the photo was obviously going to be what contradicts stuff. Saw the murder at around 11. After asking that it be reported, I went out to the main gate. There I saw tracks that indicated the snowmobile had been used. Takes 15 minutes to walk, but less than 5 using one of those. Maybe they threw the weapon into Eagle River and came back while I was knocked out. I'm gonna say no to that. As a result of the photo. Thank you. I admit this photograph proves something. It proves that the snowmobile was used on the night of the murder. You've finally accepted the inevitable, it seems, Miles Edgeworth. However, if what the witness says is true, then why is there only one set of tracks? Oh, that too! The snowmobile only was used to come back to the inner temple. I wasn't even thinking about the fact that there was only 2 tracks. Or there's only one snowmobile tracks. Because, like, yeah, you should have seen tracks when it was leaving the gate, and other tracks when it was coming back to the gate. What do you mean? Iris left Hazakura Temple, threw the weapon into the river, and then returned. If this was the case, then naturally there should be 2 sets of tracks in the snow. Those from heading out to the bridge, and those from coming back. Ah, you're right! Oh, and just to be clear... the snowmobile must then have already been parked at the bridge, because then somebody walked all the way over there. And did whatever. And then snowmobiled their way back. Because those footprints are going away from the gate. So... You are forgetting one thing, Miles Edgeworth. On the night of the murder, it was snowing. The tracks leading to the bridge were erased by the snowfall. This removes your precious contradiction, now doesn't it? I see. While she was at the river, the snow stopped, leaving just the return tracks in the snow. Except for the fact that there's still footprints there. What do you have to say now, Miles Edgeworth? Is there a flaw in her theory? This idea that the snowfall covered one set of tracks. It's flawless! Of course there's a contradiction, and we're just gonna use the photo again. The tracks to the river were covered by snow. What a nice theory. However, Miss Von Karma, that is impossible. Would you care to explain? Why there is a rude index finger currently pointed in my general direction? No need. The evidence will do all of the talking for me. On the night of the murder, the killer went to and returned from Dusky Bridge. In order to dispose of the murder weapon, the outgoing tracks were erased by snow. Or so claims Miss Von Karma. Mr. Edgeworth, present your evidence to the contrary, eh? Oh, I will. Here is the evidence. What do you have to say, Your Honor? This reminds me of when I was a little hockey goon in training. When I was a child, I hoped for school to be cancelled due to heavy snowfall. Perhaps, Mr. Edgeworth, it would have been better for you had court been snowed in. Well, what's the problem? Evidence that the outgoing tracks were not covered by snow. Oh, perhaps we could get the weather data. Snow 7 to 10:50. Ooh, she said it happened past 11. Witness, please tell us again what time it was when you witnessed the crime. Like I said, it was around 11. Of course, this means that the weapon was thrown away after that time, correct? On that note, please take a look at this data. It is the weather report for Eagle Mountain on the night of the murder. The weather report? Snow started to fall at 7 p.m., but it stopped at around 10:50. Therefore, when the sister witnessed the crime at 11, the snow had already stopped falling. It is impossible for any tracks made after that time to have been covered up. Ah! Yes. That's gonna do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.